Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to our webinar on increasing your margins with cloud backup. It's with me, Chris McWhirr. I'm the channel sales manager here, and my colleague Will Rowley.
Hi, afternoon everyone.
So this is part of our series of webinars which we're doing on the moment on cloud-based services. The ones we've already done last week was on VoIP telephony. So if you weren't there for that one and you wanted to get the recording of it, please just let us know and we can provide you with that. So today we're going to be doing one on obviously online data backup and finishing on Thursday the 3rd of October with hosted environments. Okay, so this one as mentioned is on online data backup. You probably as a partner would have been selling online data backup for a while now, and it may even be sort of considered to be one of your more standard offerings. I think from a customer's perspective, whilst offsite backup is considered to be a necessary service, it's often fairly low down the priority list compared to other services. I think we can generally agree that getting a new backup solution is not as exciting as getting a new server, leased line or telephony system. So this kind of attitude we see towards backup does create a slight problem when selling it. Particularly online backup has become quite commoditized in the last couple of years. You know, there's a huge number of different backup providers out there, all claiming to do the same thing and claiming to be cheaper than the next person. And if you end up competing with these solutions, it's going to become very difficult to differentiate your product from the rest of them and to really make any margin from offering a value-added service. So what we're going to be really looking at in this webinar is just how to get a better understanding of the customer's backup needs and how you can address those needs by offering a higher quality solution with a higher level of value add and ultimately something you're going to be able to make more margin from. So I'm going to start off by just giving a bit of an overview, looking at why customers should even sort of consider changing the existing solutions. Going to be having a little look at what solutions are out there on the market at the moment. Then I'll be passing over to Will, who's going to be talking about really understanding, getting to the bottom of customers' needs, looking at other range of solutions that we can offer, and really what sets Cloud Direct solutions apart from others out there in the market. Then be finishing off with me, just looking at some of the benefits of partnering with us, and again just rounding off and focusing on how you can really sort of increase margin through online data backup. Okay, so looking first of all just at why customers should look at changing the existing solution at all. I think as discussed before, the attitude towards customer backup can present a number of challenges when trying to sell it. Now you obviously don't want to be wasting your time trying to sell to a service to a customer that doesn't want it. But it's important as well to address the main objections that you're going to come up against with customers at that initial stage, just so you're not missing out on potential sales opportunities. So up on the screen are some of the three main objections that we sort of come across, and just want to quickly address each one of them. Probably the most common one we come up against when first speaking to customers is it's not a top priority. And I think backup is never going to be a top priority for any company, until of course they lose data, and then backup's going to be by far the biggest priority. I think it comes down to the trouble that we often find is that when you're speaking to the person you're selling to is often going to be a director or a company owner. He might not have ever experienced data loss, and a lot of them don't actually believe that it's going to happen. Now, as an IT provider, obviously you deal with multiple customers. You know that data loss is more of a case of when and not if. And more importantly, you know who's going to get it in the neck if data loss actually occurs, even if it wasn't you who actually supplied the backup system. So it's really just making sure you don't slip into that trap of assuming just because you understand the importance of a company backing up the data, that a customer is going to actually understand as well. You really need to get them to, to think seriously about what's going to happen if they lose data. And it's a difficult message to get across, especially trying to get it across without coming across like scare tactics. And we've had different methods of doing it. I've certainly had partners who have deliberately deleted data from the customer server and let them have a small panic to start with before restoring it for them. It's a bit of a risky maneuver, but again, it's something worth considering. So the other one that we come across fairly regularly as well is I'm happy with the existing solution. And the first question that I generally look to ask in this sort of situation is, okay, when was the last time you tested it? It may sound fairly obvious, but it does really need to be explicitly pointed out to the customer that backup is just one part of the process. Recovery is the other part, and a lot of people argue it's the more important part of those two processes. So, you do find that most customers are going to be happy with the existing backup solution. They say, yeah, look, it's cheap, it backs up absolutely fine, it just sits there and ticks away in the background, had no problems with it at all. They might have even tried to recover a couple of files, and that's worked perfectly for them. But it's not until they actually go to recover Exchange or SQL database, or looking at doing a full recovery, that they're actually going to realize the limitations of some of the lower cost backup solutions out there. So what we generally find is it's much more effective to be selling a recovery solution rather than a backup solution. And it's that ability to be able to recover quickly and effectively that really makes a higher quality business focused backup solution like ours stand out over some of the more sort of lower end consumer products. And finally, obviously, not just related to backup, but one that we do come across, especially if you're looking to be, not just selling one of the other kind of low-end solutions out there, you want to be selling a higher-grade business backup solution, is that it's too expensive. And that's what you need to be looking at. If you're going to sell a product you want to be making some margin on, you really need to be looking at this. And what we really find is the most critical thing here is making sure that the customer really does understand the value of their data. It's selling insurance, it's selling backup, it's really quite like selling insurance, and it needs to be viewed in this way by a customer. So like insurance, one of the most important factors you take into account is the value of what's being insured. And for many businesses, you'll find that data is going to be their most critical and often the most valuable asset. But this is something you've really got to make them understand. So one of the questions that we first ask when we go and speak to business owners, business directors, is, right, what's going to be the financial impact of you being without your data for 24 hours, for 48 hours, and actually sort of getting them to address this. Most of the companies we speak to, most of the owners we speak to have absolutely no idea to start with. And the trouble is, if they've not considered this, then they're not going to have a real understanding of the value of their data, and it's going to make it very difficult for you to be able to sell them a solution which is aimed at protecting that data. So before you can look at increasing the budget they're going to assign to backup, you need to get them to address this question. Okay, so next thing to just quickly look at is just some of the solutions that are out there on the market at the moment. These are the sort of typical ones we come up against: tape and sort of physical backup. Okay, so in many formats, customers might be putting it onto a tape and taking it off-site manually themselves, might be putting it onto a hard drive. They might be paying a third-party company to come and do those tape rotations. And a lot of customers, even though they're slowly moving away from it, some are finding it quite difficult to let it go. Looking at some of the potential sort of issues with it, you're probably aware of them anyway. It's a physical medium at the end of the day, and it's going to be prone to damage, it's going to be prone to corruption. And also, somewhere along the line, there's going to have to be some manual input involved. Someone's going to have to be either changing those tapes or taking those tapes off-site, and manual errors are going to occur. And especially if you've been getting them to address that question in terms of looking at the financial impact of losing data, for a lot of businesses, if they're without data for 3 or 4 days, they potentially lose a business. And that's a lot of responsibility to put in someone's hands for changing those tapes and taking it off-site. Often it's unsecure, it's taken off-site unencrypted formats, and there are hidden costs to it as well. You've really got to consider the time involved for someone to actually be taking those tapes off-site, someone to be changing them, someone to be sort of devoting time to it. US-based providers, this is one that we see quite a lot of, certainly in the last couple of years. There's been a massive influx of US-based companies come into the storage market. Storage in the US is very, very cheap, so you'll see some sort of fantastic deals of unlimited backup for $5 a month or whatever it is. It's fine for a consumer-focused product, but it's not ever going to be a viable business backup solution. One of the main reasons you look at is the Data Protection Act. If you've got customer data which is sitting there on your server, the Data Protection Act does state that it needs to be kept within the EU, within the European Economic Area at all times. You do get some data centers in the US which are what they call safe harbor compliant. You can technically store data out there, but if you're doing that, you need to make all your customers aware that their data is being taken outside of the EU. And apart from that as well, one of the main reasons is it's just not really an efficient method of disaster recovery. If you lose all your data, if you lose 500 gigabytes of data, you're not going to be wanting to pull that back over the internet. With a solution like ours, we can ship it back to you on a disk within 24 hours. If all your data is sitting out there in a US data center, you're going to have a lot of trouble trying to get it back. On top of that as well is obviously the support. You might not be getting support within your normal business hours. And finally, there's other providers. I could just lump this into one category. I mean, there are so many providers out there in the market. There's an endless list out there. It's very hard for customers to know when they're looking at a website how reliable the backup solution is going to be. So it's just really about asking questions to try and find that out when you're speaking to customers. What technology are they using? There's actually, considering the number of providers out there, there's a very few number of actual technologies. A lot of providers will just rebrand technologies, have them as their own solution. So you really want to get to the bottom of what, if your customer's using a different product, what are they actually using? And finding out where data's stored as well. So, are they storing data in the States? Is it being stored in a Tier 1, a Tier 2, a Tier 4 data center? Actually finding out what sort of security that they've got in place there. And if the customer doesn't know this, then it's good for them to start asking, these kind of questions anyway. And finally, just looking at, actually who's protecting the data. It's something which is often forgotten about, but actually, you want to know what company is going to be looking after your data, how long have they been going for, what's their financial record like, what are the customers that they got on board, and ultimately just finding out how trustworthy that company is. Okay, so I'm going to pass on to Will now.
Cheers, Chris. So, we're going to have a quick look at how we understand the client's needs, what they come to us asking for, and how we can best tailor, and how you guys can best kind of take that conversation to them and use it as a foot in the door for possibly other services, and really building a best solution, a best backup solution for them for data management policy. So first thing we'd always have to talk about is the difference between RPO and RTO. So forgive me if I'm preaching to the converted here, and this is something you're really well aware of, but data protection, whether it's for backup or disaster recovery, comes down to the restore point objective and the restore time objective. And so much is derived from this. The cost of the service, the efficiency of the service, really, and the client's expectations fall under the RTO and RPO. So the restore point objective is effectively the point in time prior to data loss, whether that's a disaster or a data file corruption or deletion, that you want to be able to recover to. If you're running a nightly backup system at the moment, or you're running tape backups that run over a night, your restore point objective is up to 24 hours. That's where you're taking a nightly backup. Your restore time objective, by comparison, is how long it's going to take you to get that data back into something that's a usable format, whether it's a database that needs mounting and being put online, or whether it's being able to recover a huge file store. The restore time is equally as important to the customer. When can they start using that data again? So they're the first things to really start talking about, and that will start pushing you down the line of, are we looking at a true data backup solution, or are they looking at something that might be more disaster recovery flavoured? And we've got solutions that bridge both those divides. The second thing is the security compliance. Quite often, if you're dealing with somebody that's FCA regulated and they have compliance to adhere to, they will be very, very aware of the sorts of compliance. And Chris has already mentioned not storing things off-site in the US, not breaching EU safe harbour regulations. They will be aware of that. And therefore, you need to tailor the kinds of backup solutions and data storage solutions that you can take to them. Part and parcel of this is actually running a data audit, and it's a really good way of you getting in there with your client, sitting down, spending some time with them, actually working out what's critical data, what's data that they will want to spend more money on having it available or having it online or having systems highly available, and what is actually probably more archiving or it's static data that doesn't really move much, it's not that critical, and you can actually tier several products together, either that are online storage products, online data backup products, or a more appropriate on-site data storage box that actually, it's good to have that archive, but it's not necessarily going to have to be held online for 7 years and be highly available. So a consultative sell approach here means that you get to go in there, add value, rather than just trying to go in there and sell a per gigabyte rate for online backup. You actually are adding value as the partner. And you might come across the fact that they might need archiving or they might need email archiving, and you're really going to scratch the surface of the customer and discover actually if they're looking at online solutions or they need certain online solutions, maybe they need additional services like lease lines. And really it's an opportunity to be able to look at a wider product set, a bigger portfolio of which backup is only one, but you get to take a big toolkit to the client, you get value, they get value out of you being consultative with them, and then finally We've got a checklist that we're going to be running so that if you wanted to be able to take this to a customer and really go through, sit down with them, discover what's required, then we're going to issue that for you. And from that, we've got 5 different backup solutions that we vend. We vend agnostically, and we cover pretty much every situation. So whether that's just a case of wanting server backup, whether you want network backup, whether you want backup for endpoints, mobile devices, tablets, we pretty much have something that covers everything. Whether it's a collaborative slant, we've got products to suit them all, which is very different from some of those other providers that Chris was talking about, especially those that have kind of made an investment into their own infrastructure. So they might have a platform which they run online backup to. But it's pretty much a round peg in a square hole. Every single customer is going to be offered the same product, which might not necessarily be the right product for them. So what you can actually do is take 2 or 3 different backup products, and if certain compliance issues need to be applied to certain bits of data, but certain collaborative elements need to be applied to other bits of data, then you can multiply backup products so that you've got the best solution for the customer. We cover every eventuality in that regard. And then just from a Cloud Direct point of view, I mean, we've been going for the best part of 10 years and in the backup industry. Originally, some of you out there will know us as Backup Direct. We've got a huge skill set within our product range. We're compliant to ISO 27001, as are our data centers and the infrastructure partners that we vend with, and the data centers are SEA 16 compliant as well. And really our tenet is to go out there and look at getting the best enterprise class technologies, technology that has come from the likes of HP and IBM, where it's received huge amounts of investment, far more than a lot of these lower grade carriers, lower grade providers, and then putting into data centers that, again, have tier 3 and 4 availability, 5 nines availability, where the investment in that infrastructure is, most of the time, is far outweighs the turnover of some of these smaller backup companies. And really, there's no one can match that kind of infrastructure than these enterprises. But they're not suited to being able to bring that the quality of service that a small and medium-sized business would need. And for you as partners, we want to provide you with service so that if you want to propose one of our solutions, we're fully confident that our SLAs and our service is there, and you can lean on us for support whenever you need. So Chris is just going to run through a little bit about why us from a commercial angle.
Yeah, so thanks very much for that, Will. So hopefully by now listening to that, you've got a better idea of some of the benefits of a business-focused backup solution like ours over some of the other low-end products that are out there in the market. So just going to look quickly really at what benefits we can give you as a partner, and again just looking over how that can equate to looking at higher margins for you. And the first point to really make around that is just better products do command higher prices. We've discussed some of the other backup methods out there that you're going to come up against in the market. The majority of the backup market out there is made up of consumer-focused software. It's lacking in security, lacking in reliability, and if you're reselling this software, despite paying super low pricing for it, maybe you're going to be unable to differentiate it against the other low-end solutions that are out there in the market, and ultimately you're not going to have the ability to sell it at a higher price. And you will find within your customer base, maybe a cheaper backup solution will be adequate for a lot of companies. If they don't maybe understand the value of the data, possibly less concerned about where data is being stored or how quickly they can get it back, you're going to have a hard time in selling a better backup solution to these customers. But there are going to be a large number of companies out there who understand the financial impact of losing data, and they're going to be prepared to pay a higher price for a service which is ultimately going to give them the level of protection that they need. And it's really these customers that our solutions are going to stand out above the competition for, and where you're going to be able to offer a higher level of service. Adding value as well, you really want to be looking at adopting a more thorough approach to your customers' backup needs, and that's going to help you maximize revenues. I mean, Will talked a little bit about conducting data audits, doing consultations, and as well as these audits themselves being additional chargeable services, they're also going to help to uncover some of the other requirements of services within other areas of your business. You do need to make sure if you're doing these full data audits, so if you're getting a more in-depth understanding of your customers' backup requirements, that you've actually got the solutions to back this up. So if you're discovering that your customer needs an RPO of 30 minutes, you need to have a backup solution that's actually going to be able to offer this. And it's being able to offer these multiple services, that's really going to help you to increase kind of revenues and increase the level of service you're able to offer to your customers. And that's where we can help, as Will obviously was talking about, being an agnostic provider. We've got different solutions we can put forward. And as well as that, really just providing solutions that are easy to sell and easy to support. Backup solutions, they may be relatively transparent for most of the time, to the end user themselves, but the difference it's going to make to an IT partner is going to be huge. So our main aim is to make the sales, the deployment, the support for these online data backup products as efficient as possible. And this is going to be done, we do this in a number of areas, from having a central web-based portal so you can easily manage your backups and run reports over your entire customer base. We'll also come down and provide full sales training for you and give you marketing support just to make sure you can maximize the revenue streams for each service. We provide 24/7 support with either you as a partner or direct with the customer. And we've also got a number of things coming in, but by the end of Q3 we should have our Provide platform in place. And this will be a partner portal which we've created to really just allow you to easily buy and manage our full range of services from a single interface. And this will have everything from purchasing solutions from a web store to be able to pull off white label billing for your customers and all that kind of thing. So it's really all these things, just as well as being able to ensure customers receive the highest quality service, the aim is just to make sure that you as an IT partner are going to spend your activities focusing on the things that are actually going to generate revenue for you. So just having a quick look at the partner schemes that we offer then. So the certified partner, this is really our entry-level partner scheme. It's designed for partners who want to start off offering the service to customers, but really kind of still keeping a focus on their core products and services. So accounts will be signed up on a case-by-case basis. There's no commitment you need to make. You'll have a dedicated account manager from Cloud Direct. You're going to be able to discuss each deal with them and really just make sure that you're putting forward the best solution at the best price. Billing again can be done either directly with the customer and we can pay a commission on top of that, or we can bill you at a discount and you can bill the customer. It's really whatever suits your business model the best. The wholesale partner is more designed for partners who want to resell our services as one of their core offerings. You'd have access to the full management portals we use. You'd be looking to provision and manage accounts yourself, look at rebranding the software so you can put it forward as your own solution. And also then there's going to be increased discounts available depending on the kind of revenue that's being brought in through a customer base. So if anyone wants more information on those, obviously we can provide those afterwards. So just pass back over to Will.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Obviously, we are Cloud Direct. Some of you will know us as being Backup Direct in bygone years. We are a cloud services brokerage, and what that really means is that I know we've been talking a bit about backup today, but we do have a range of cloud-based services, and that some up on the screen there, things like Hosted Exchange, a very popular one in the marketplace, as well as unified communications and telephony and hosted desktop and things. So we have a very large portfolio of cloud-based services, and we understand that there is a reticence within the marketplace. Customers are not really as cutting edge as we are thinking about cloud, but we have the solutions that, like online backup, that act as a bit of a toe in the water. It's the first sort of thing they can do to start looking at the cloud services and how they can start alleviating the IT pain that managers there have. In terms of the service that we provide, we are a 24/7, 365 support desk, all UK-based, and we measure ourselves very strictly on a metric known as Net Promoter. I won't go into the details. The numbers are up on screen. If you wanted to find a bit more about that, please look at our website. Really, the fundamental thing about our service, and we say it to our customers, but it's equally as important to our partners, is that by sticking to standards like ITIL and Prince2, we provide a set of processes and a confidence in our service, which means that whether you want us to handle first line, second line, or third line support for your customers, you can be confident that you're investing with a partner that's able to support you in the way that you would want to be supported. And finally, security. I touched on that a while ago talking about ISO. We are ISO 27001 accredited for data security. That is the default mark that people are now looking for in service providers. So if you want to be able to vend a range of solutions like I've just shown you there, that are all ISO 27001 audited, and all of our infrastructure and vendor partners do meet these standards, then we're a perfect partner for you. We're also ISO 20000 accredited. That's for service delivery. Again, that ties back into the service element I talked about at the moment, and it gives confidence and trust to your customers that the services they're buying are secure. The apprehension around cloud and letting go of their data and their servers out of their offices, it can be mitigated by the fact that we are watertight on our security principles. So that's a little bit about us. Chris and I will be running some other webinars coming up. We're going to leave this call open for a couple of minutes just to field any questions that have come up during this. Otherwise, thanks very much for your time today, and Chris and I will talk to you on the next one in a few weeks based on a bit of hosted desktops, hosted environments. But for now, please drop us your questions, or if you want to take this offline, then please get in touch with us on the number and the email address on the screen.
Okay, so we've had someone just come in just asking what the kind of costs are for the service. Well, as Will mentioned, there's quite a number of different backup solutions we've got, and all of them will be at sort of different price points. So we talked quite a bit about the services being focused on those customers who are looking for a better kind of quality solution. We still have some sort of simple desktop backups, with unlimited backups of £15 a month if you've got those kind of customers looking for it. But the other backup solutions, we've got a complete range of sort of pricing depending what they're looking for. So probably the best thing I'd advise is if you want a copy of our price list or an overview of our wholesale pricing, just pop me an email and I'll send you the full sort of pricing through.
Another question just came up on a bandwidth issue. Obviously, as soon as people start moving towards cloud-based services, fundamentally, it's the bandwidth it drives that change, and whether it's they're moving towards more hosting requirements or services such as online backup, there is going to be an overhead on bandwidth. What we can do, and what we do with all of our backup products, is mitigate the influence of or the negative influence of backup, because it's going to use your bandwidth, by being able to seed data to the data centers in the first instance, and then everything else is incremental. So it's just the changes that we take. So from a backup point of view, it's very painless. It's a really nice step into the cloud. And it's the ability to really start using cloud services in an easy and efficient manner.
Okay, so just had another question coming in there, just asking about the commissions and how that sort of scheme works. So again, we talked about the different partnering schemes. So on a certified partner scheme with backup, it's a very simple scheme. We just do it on a case-by-case basis. We will either pay you a commission if we're billing the customer directly, and that commission will be 15% recurring on our certified partner schemes. And what we actually do is pay that commission for the lifetime of your customer. So providing you're an active partner, and being an active partner is simply just bringing on one account a year, then you continue to receive that commission for as long as we have that partner on board with us. And one of the benefits, with us, we have a very low churn rate as a company. So as you start to bring on customers, you'll find you can start to build quite a substantial extra revenue stream for bringing those on board. Again, with minimal kind of investment at the beginning in capital. So that's certainly how we do it. Again, that'd be the same for the resellers. We'll just give you a 15% discount, and obviously you can you can charge the customer what you feel is best.
That seems like all the questions that have come in during today's webinar. If there are any of you out there that haven't put your hand up and do have questions or have prospects or opportunities that you'd like to discuss with us at any more length, then again, please get in touch with us on the phone number and the email address on the screen there. Sorry, and we're happy to have a chat with you about the prospects. Thanks very much again for your time today, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you.